Greetings and welcome. This is Psychic Medium Roberto, and I truly hope you are doing well. We are guided and blessed by Spirit if we want. Trigger warning: the subject matter is of a mature nature and deals with nuclear events, unfortunately. Disclaimer: all cases are treated as alleged until proven in a court of law, although one can say Putin has been tried in the International Court of Law, and yet he's still sipping on some vodkas every now and then. I don't think alcohol is a very good thing for him at the moment. So in this episode, atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. We can all agree that it was a devastating, twice in a lifetime crime against humanity, in my humble opinion. And if we look at the dates when the bombing took place, August 6, August 9, the day after the first bomb is dropped, we see a 7 at the start of a day. Now, when you have a mass casualty event, or even if it's a homicide, if a death has taken place that the universe, let's say, deems innocent death of innocence, then the day after the first bomb goes down, it's reflected as a death of innocence. Now, whatever reason, yes, the event is devastating, but in my television days, I was afforded an opportunity to direct a music video. I had to come up with a concept, etc., blah, 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 blah. But in that particular music video, I used the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But the concept was I was also editing, reversed the footage so that the bombing is reversed. Now, we only have 2 known examples of atomic bombs, nuclear bombs, that go off in society. The objective of this episode is to point out sequence of numbers, identify numbers related to a nuclear situation, that we're able to identify future patterns, look out for certain patterns. So we're going to use Hiroshima and Nagasaki as the example. Now let's look at the actual day first. The first day, August 6, 1945. We can see an 8 from August, 6 from the day, 1910-1 from the edition of 1945, 1910-1. The combination of the month and the day gives us the 14-5. Now, interestingly, I mentioned this previously, the 2 world wars. The outcome of the day that is registered as the start or the official start of a world war was always 14-5. So when you got a 14-5 in wartime, you're talking about the enemy, the foe, 14-5. Because we can simplify it and say 4 equals local, 5 international. So we know who the two countries that were involved, US and Japan. So the 14.5 has shown a conflict, and 14.5, the number 5 itself, the number 5 is a political number. It's politics. 5, the day before the bombing, all the politicians smoking their cigars, drinking their bourbon, chuckling, knowing the plane is loaded, ready to go, and what is going to happen next. 1910-1 in the year automatically brings around, of course, there's an operation in play. Now, when the bomb drops, we see a 33-6. Now, the number 6 is explosions, is bombs. Now, when we talk nuclear, the number 3. So already the universe has shown us 3 and another 3, 2. We can agree, and of course it must have been anyway, well planned, 22-4, well orchestrated. We get a power number 33-6, massive explosion, and we can go finite and say 3 equals nuclear. Oof. I'm also getting in tune with nuclear numbers as well, right? I've ironically had prepared the show about a month ago. I had also prepared, there was another show related to this kind of activity, but a birdie sent out a message today, which I thought, let me just have a look at the numbers and see what is going on. And not to be cryptic, but I'm going to give a caution before I show the next slide. The purpose of this episode is not to be alarmist. Run to the hills, grab your cans, get in your bunkers, put in, make sure you got food, water, etc. No. I want to share sequence of numbers related to nuclear, because if we go to the next slide, current day. Today I'm recording this December 19th. It's late in the evening. Most of the birdies are sleeping. It's now 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. December 20 to December 22nd was raised as a sequence of dates, or sequence of days rather, days, where there could be heightened activity in the world, unfortunately. So when I looked at these numbers, there's very similar number sequences happening coincidentally or not with the next 5 days. Now, if we look at what's happening in Russia, Ukraine, a lot of spies in the air, a lot of chitter-chatter, lots of information being shared. On December 21, there's a conflict, 12-3 and 21-3. On December the 23rd, there's a 17-8-8. And by the way, December the 23rd, these are all Putin's numbers here. So why is the impact on him? Or why is he the culprit? We'll come back to the slide. In the Hiroshima and Nagasaki sequences, we also see a 8-8 conflict here. Now, if we have to nail down what is the meaning of number 8, speaks about we can say the process of engineering this kind of bomb. It also speaks about the technology of the bomb. 8s are very energetic, very robust energy. It speaks about technology. But I find that particular 8-8 conflict there is, for me, I want to almost think, could it have been a moment in history on August the 8th, having dropped the first bomb? Was there conflict internally with the powers that be or whatever, whether to drop the second bomb or not? Because surely the first bomb had done it, right? I don't know. I don't know the inner politics. We've all seen, or some of us have seen, the Hollywood movies. But when you're on the ground, what I was getting to, the severity of that bomb. Because I was wondering, why would there be a 24/6, 15/6 here? You know, if this was a regular crime scene, we can say, oh, it's someone familiar, there's a perp, older male, but we are dealing with a mass casualty event. We know from the history books that it involved nuclear. And we also know about the burns that people would have suffered, that the Japanese people would have suffered. So when you bring in 6s, it talks about burns. 4, skin. So you got 24 skin, burns. 15/6, you can imagine the aggravation and frustration, those that were unfortunate in some senses to survive that second periphery or third periphery wave, however it's measured, where you survive but you've got scars for the rest of your life and you die probably the next day or two or week, however the radiation works. 6 radiation, actually. 6 radiation. You know, on one hand, this 8-8 can speak about the impact on biology. However, if you look at August 8 in a reflective scenario, in other words, if we use it as, let's look back 72 hours, what was going on? So we look at August the 5th. 8 from August, 5. Now 5, one can argue that wars were started for less. I mean, wars were probably started on perception. Wars have been started on lies. Bullshit, 5. So I believe there would have been a turning point moment the day before. One, whether it was going to happen or not, but it could have been the engineering issue, whether they were going to get there or not, because it was quite a long haul. I recall watching the movie that to strip down planes and all sorts of things. But there was definitely conflict in the air. This could have been avoided in some instances. But I also believe, as we know in history now, and I'll see if I can see it here, there was a particular determination to drop these bombs and to send out a clear message. Yes. Oh, that was the other one. I was looking at, beg your pardon, I sound like a real tit now. Pearl Harbor. That's the other show I was going to do. The bombing of Pearl Harbor. So there was definitely a sense of let's get them back. But there is conflict. There was conflict here. And the conflict happens after the main bombing. They would have known the extent of the damage. They wouldn't have known the full, because that still comes 10, 20, 30 years later, right? So 33.6, big explosion, big bombs, nuclear orientated. August the 9th, the second bomb. This 9, that's like death. And ironically, the August 9 will reflect when the first bomb was dropped. You know, with all of these 10 ones around brings extra energy. The 8s bring extra energy. The 6s bring extra energy. Those, 6s and 8s in a violent situation those are the numbers, and then 10-1 brings that extra energy. You know, in the +9 of the day after August 9, in the +9 of August the 10th, there would be a 19-10-1 conflict. There was conflict behind this, but regardless. So nuclear, we're looking for 3s, 33.6. And you can see all of these operational numbers here: 37-10-1, 28-10-1, 19-10-1. Big operation. In the +9 of August the 4th, we see the number 40, outcome 4, military. So if we jump into current day, I was just looking to see if there's any similarities. So of course we know the outcomes are very similar. The 4s, so 4, 5, 6s. 4, 5, 6s. So December 21, so the 21 outcome 3 in the plus 9 is a 30 outcome 3. So what's bugging me about these 5 days, a number of things. One, we've got 10 ones around. We got 20 outcome 2. We got 30 outcome 3. We got 40 outcome 4. So what is happening here? There is a build-up of energy. Why is there a build-up of energy? Now, if I had to place myself and place this sequence, let's say, in the US, the 15-6 for me becomes a problem. This 15-6 here. I did a show about the Boston Marathon bombing, and there was a 15-6. So the 15-6 can speak about a domestic device or a concocted device, or let me rather say, it can be those pressure cooker type bombs, right? It's a hash bash and put it together, make a bomb type bomb, right? Domestic. The problem there is, and this is as much as a discovery reading, but the problem for me still is around that 15-6 is we have a hidden 33-6. You know, I recently watched that movie, The Kingdom. It's an insane movie, but very good. Happens to be with Jamie Foxx, no coincidence, not planned. You will recall the sequence when the first bomb goes off. And then when all the first responders get there and all the service people, all the people are helping, everyone's busy, seemingly nothing more is going to happen, and then there's a hidden 33-6, an even bigger one. Does that make sense? Now, I'm also seeing movement, and I'm really not trying to be alarmist. So if we look December 19, which is current day, there's a 30 outcome 3. If we were in a scenario of war, worst case scenario, this 30 outcome 3 can speak about a mass of chemicals. Mass of chemicals. So that's getting moved in the evening. Here's something interesting. the next day starts with a 20, outcome 2. So is it being transported, whatever this 30, outcome 3 is in reality, but speaks about large chemicals? Not exactly your deodorant can in your bathroom or whatever. Not your average deodorant can. This is a large thing of chemicals here. So we see a 20, outcome 2. Is it traveling on water? Is it traveling on water? Now, when we see 14.5, so it's crossing borders. 14.5, we saw this in the Hannah Cabana shows. 14.5, crossing borders. Now, here's where it gets, we need confirmations. One number, yes. Once we start seeing more of the similar theme, so what am I talking about? We've got a 3 verse 3 conflict here. That speaks about communities. There's a grouping. So to say colloquially, Russia versus Ukraine. That's what would be a 12-3, 21-3. So we've already identified this conflict here, right? So now what is happening here? December 20, hidden. We've got a 23.5. So 23.5 is in the positive aspect of a wider community. Now, because it's 23.5, can be international, more than likely international. It's an international community. 32.5 is talking about the destruction of 32. And in fact, I've just been reminded, this 32.5 is very much present on day 1 of the war with Vladimir Satan and the Ukraine. So what is this saying here? There's a conflict of communities here. Yeah. In the December 21, conflict of communities here. There's confirmations here. So, over water onto land. Over water onto land. Tomorrow, December 20th, of course, our Australian friends and New Zealand friends are already in the 20th. So movement over land in the evening of the 20th. So if we're focusing on Russia, let's say, for example, if we're focusing on Russia and Ukraine, over water, then onto land. So the reason why I made these 3 dates red is because, for me, in a worst case scenario, are highly problematic. Too many big numbers around, 10s, 20s, 30s, 40s. And in the +9, we see 50s. So evidence in previous shows or cases I've looked at where there's explosions, you get in big numbers around. So when I spoke about this 15.6 and the hidden 33.6, right? Because there was, it's not to say, where are you? Yeah. 33.6 in the open. Now what bugs me, so 15.6 is the small domestic bomb, relatively speaking. Hidden 33.6, the next day, that 33.6 is in the open. And I said in the Putin missile episode that I did, I believe it was part of the one of the Sunday podcasts. that the escalation where more nations will get involved is when something illegal happens between Russia and Ukraine. Now, we can already argue it's illegal, right? But in terms of engagements in war, where's the red line? And is Putin willing to step over that red line? Now, my other concern is, and it keeps coming back, December 22nd, there's the 16-7 in the middle of this day here. The impact is 42-6. This is devastation. 42-6 is very violent. 42-6 is very aggressive, violent. The 16-7 brings around the notion of, is there an assassination coming? So what I'm feeling is that there's almost feels like a double whammy situation happening here in these 3 days. There's a double whammy. There's two things going to happen. You know, of course, as a first responder, and this is not psychically speaking. This is just like a example. First responders are trained to run to the problem. You're never going to change that with them. But there also needs to be a measure of, well, is it safe to? Because in many countries, it's happening in many countries that just on a very basic general level, first responders are getting attacked by thugs. And of course, when you're in wartime, you want to draw all the bees to the pot, right? So we just got to be careful and not just run for that honey pot. December the 22nd, there's a 22-4. Grand Master Plan. What also bugs me in the theme of explosions and bombs and high energy, big energies, 22-4 is quite industrious as well, huh? It's an industrious, it comes with quite a bit of energy on its own. So it's on from a numerology point of view, when you look at historic events or you can take any event. If it happened yesterday, historic, provided you know the outcome. Because then you can measure and look at the numbers in those sequences. And it's always going to be a blueprint if something else happens similar. So we are seeing some similarities, not exactly, but I'm not saying we must stop doing what we're doing, but I'm saying somewhere in the world, and given the Ukraine and Russia situation, not looking good. And of course we know, the nuclear general in Russia was assassinated this week. We know, obviously, Putin is going to retaliate, but how is he going to retaliate? Well, since Uncle Joe gave permission to use long-range supersonic missiles, let's try a few of those. And are they going to take the next step? Is there chemicals in there? Are there nuclear-tipped warheads, however it works? But, dare I say the cliche that let's hope history does not repeat itself. And Putin needs to hurry up and get over himself as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, just sharing some numbers. Please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. I do love engaging with them. Stay safe, stay alert. See you in the next one. Bye for now.